Hey guys, welcome to another Leota review. This time we're looking at the LFL 2024 rankings. This one will be a little interesting. I did watch a good portion of these players over the past year, but it will still be this will definitely be harder than ranking LEC and LCS players, just because there's a little bit more of a variance. So let's get to it. So there's Aegis. They have Agrespo, Yuzaki, Nefkala. This guy is coming from the SL squad, from the Fnatic SL squad, I believe. He is pretty good. Honestly, he had a down year in the summer spring split. He actually looked pretty interesting. Like, he was one of the more noticeable young talents. So hopefully he can get it back. I'm not exactly a huge fan of Yuzaki. Hido or Hito, however you want to say it. He's okay. Nothing to really, not too interesting. Vagnarum, he's like, how would I describe it? He's like the ultimate 50-50 support. Like, this guy can make some pretty good plays, but at the same time, like, he goes in so often it kind of turns into some random ints. So not exactly like my favorite play style, but he does get stuff done. BKR, they're keeping the same solo laner. So Howling was from last year. He was individually the best laning top laner in all of the RLs. Like, he was phenomenal. He comes from the LCK Challengers League. This was his first year in EU. I was a little surprised that he didn't get more looks, but I'm not surprised that he's still in the LFL because he is definitely a good talent. 113, he's coming from the LEC. Astralis, he had like okay showing. So BKR had Pride Stalker prior. Pride Stalker, honestly, surprisingly enough, okay, he's not my favorite jungler. He kind of makes mistakes and things like that. But it was actually better than he did better than I thought. 113 should probably be better than him in the fact that he will kind of enable the lanes more. And so that's going to be a huge boon for Howling. And then for Chucklad, yeah, you should be able to work with 113 pretty easily. Han Sam, this guy's coming from, what was it, that LLA? LLA, I think. Obviously, people always like meme about Han Sama. He's a decent 80 player. Uh, not like a crazy import by any means, but he's reasonable. I'm not. You're not going to see him playing like Bao. Like, Bao is like definitely a better player, but it is what it is. Huntura, again, an okay support player. Definitely, you're looking towards the solo lanes from BKR. Games Ward, we have Pride. I'm not like, I don't care so much about Pride. Zixi, Zixi, I think that's how you say it. Zixi, I don't know if I actually know as much about him. Let's see if this refreshes my memory at all. Ba-da-da-da. Not really. He was Jackie's jungler. Okay. Honestly, Jackie's team was not half bad, but Jackie's also did a lot of good ass shit for his team. And Pang is not going to be like that at all, which will be kind of a rough difference. But the fact that he's won hit points so often and done so well in these cases probably means he will at least have a base level that is acceptable. But I'm not a huge fan of Pang and not a huge fan of Pride. Mateus, I'm not like huge on him either. Oh, but God, it's not even going to show me this, is it? It really isn't. Okay, well, I'm not going to look him up, but I'm not like the biggest fan of him. I'm pretty sure he comes from the LFL too, right? At least I'm pretty sure he does. This is just not going to do me any favors, is it? Oh, no, there's no way I'm going to find this unless I look into the LFL2 section. So here he is right here. Oh, this guy, right? No. No, I'm not too fond of this. And then they have Steel back. So this team already like feels kind of so-so to me. I'm not really feeling it. This team, like, it's like okay. Like so far, the first three teams, I'm not like in love with. Gentle Mates, Mates, whatever mates, like Gentle Mates. I don't know why I say Mates, Gentle Mates. Um, this is very much, just the oh god, why am I already forgetting their name now? LDLC. Except now they have Bao. They kept White. Ica. White's like pretty whatever as a jungler. I'm not like people say like they're interested in him as a like young talent, but personally I find him whatever. Ica's actually reasonable. He's like uh, a Niski light kind of player. He also has some good reads on the map on how to like play for his team, which is really beneficial. And Bao. So the only thing I'm gonna say this right now. The only main concern I have with Gentle Mates is that you have Ragnar, Ica, and Bao. And even though like so Bao is like an excellent cleanup ADC. Like he will absolutely do his job. But who's the person who's gonna take like the high risks and really drive the game? I don't see anyone on the team doing that. So maybe Bao will change the way he plays. Maybe Ragnar will finally be like, okay, I am done playing this certain style, this weak side style. I'm gonna actually like take over. But I doubt it because he should have done that last year in 2023 to really sell himself to get into LEC, and he failed at doing that. So I very much doubt it. This team again, just it'll be a strong middle of the pack team, and they'll have really like they could have really good macro play, map play, but individual stakes, there'll be instances where it just does not work. KC, so Maintner, he's an LFL2 champion back to back. He's people like him. I personally am not like that high on him. At least when I was watching him play, like who did he play against? I think he played against Kyo. On Izzo. Was it Izzo? But I think he played against Kyo. He got railed in those games, and obviously you're not going to base everything on just like one situation. But I feel like in the LFL2, he had like a fine time. Like it wasn't too difficult for him because it's just like has better fundamentals. But when he actually faces like some of these better LFL, like these better top laners, I think he's going to struggle more. Linkos, I mean, this guy stemmed from the NLC, did really well on Dusty, and then he came over on GamesBoard with a super roster, and they kind of fell apart. He kind of had a down summer split. It was definitely not what he would want it to be, but he is definitely a good player. I don't think he's even 20 years old yet still. He can command the game really well. Like think about how Inspired is. Inspired has done a lot for like taking control of comms in the game and like being the forefront. Linkos actually kind of does the same. So I almost view him as like Inspired Light, and that's like the path he's going towards. It kind of sucks that he did not find an LCS or LEC spot to at least like contest in some way. So we'll see how this goes. He is on KC though, and KC did make LEC, so maybe there's some opportunity, but they have Bo, so probably not. Vladdy, this is one of the three young mid laners that are coming up. He's a very, how do I say it? He's pretty patient when it comes to his trades and looking at the spacing and being a little bit more calculated. He's not as fine-tuned, like making the big aggressive plays, but the fact that he has this like level of patience and like waiting his turn to actually make an impactful like move when playing mid is pretty nice. And if he can expand on that, he can be a rather good player. So Linkos can kind of help that guy like drive through. Kaliste, obviously, he was a huge name coming into LFL, and now he's even bigger name because he did well. He's trying to balance like playing at the edge, and it's still not like 100% good, but he's getting there, and it's like a similar path that like Exakick took. So definitely watch out for him. Fleshy, really good mechanical support. He was on the TCL for a bit, and then he landed in Immortals, and that didn't really pan out. But I don't think that was his fault. I think he can be a really good support, honestly. And he plays like, the stereotypical like good European support champions like Pike. So I'm super curious to see how that goes. This roster as a whole has a lot of talent, like a lot of talent that could be in LEC in 2025, or sorry, 2020. Yeah, 2025. Um, so getting those guys to all work together and play together will be, it might be a challenge. We'll see. Like, we'll really see, because it might be a challenge in that sense, but they're definitely going to lean on their ball lane and then the strong laning of their mid. Solari, Price, he is kind of, he's not a talent or anything like that, but he actually routinely performs well in LFL. Ekos, like, he did pretty well as well. I mean, like, yeah, I wish he could like navigate like the flow of the game better at times. But he's reasonable for the league. And DK again, kind of similar, like pretty reasonable for the league. And X, I'm like, versus the other three, I'm like, he's okay. I mean, you could have done better here, but he's okay. And Murdos, again, is an LFL2 promotion player. He is a pretty mechanically efficient player. Um, Kind of needs to get his head wrapped around the game more. So he's gonna lean on his like all the vets he has, which is really interesting. Like, he is a rookie support with all vets. So if he can pick up things quick, he can actually perform and get a lot out of it. And so I'll be really curious to see how that goes. But he will definitely need a little bit of growing up to do, because towards the end, like, he just did not look as comfortable playing on things like Alistar compared to other players. BDS Academy, JNX, Humound. JNX, this is a great addition to LFL. Like, he played really well in the PRM in the German league. It was like him and Venyor that were like the top two top laners from there, and he's solid. So that is a really good addition. Skew Mound, he comes from Aegis. He played really well. Like, he knows how to kind of navigate the early games and enable his lanes and read when to be there. And so that's a good thing for JNX. Reeker, I'm like off the Reeker train at this point. There's nothing really to be had there, but he can enable his lanes and the game state, but he's not going to be some force in the mid lane. Kadoy, he's coming from the PRM as well. Very shit. How do I say this? I don't want to say he's a very good player, but he has his moments where he has some spectacular like plays and like reading like his threat detection and navigating like where to be in the fights and timing his spells and tracking them, but it's not consistent, and it's not at a level that, like, if he was doing like, it's not at a level yet where you would be like, holy shit, we need this guy in the LEC. Like, that's just not the case for him right now. So he needs time to cook. He needs time to kind of improve in that aspect. And if he can, great. He definitely has a better support compared to he had before. Paris, coming from the TCL, like, he is more known as one of the best supports in the entire league. Not just like LFL, like in all of the ERLs. And this will be a great team for him to kind of push towards another opportunity to be in the finals, in the EMEA finals. Because this team definitely can do it. Like, yeah, I think the mid laner is a little weak, but they've shown in the past that you don't need an all-star mid laner to actually win the tournament. So top jungle 80 support. This is a good roster. Team du Sud, SLT Chings. I'm like, it's not my favorite. It's really not my favorite. Top and jungle. I'm not really sure how this is gonna work for them. Funny story. This guy, I looked at this guy how long ago? I looked at him like 5+ years ago through stats, and I said he could be a good player off the stats alone. I'm not 100% sure where he landed in the end from all of this, but he's fine. Like, obviously, if you look at his previous like performances, like in placements, it clearly shows that like he's not going to be just some complete shitter, right? But he's not bad. You know what? It's been a while since I've watched him and stuff. You know, I say I'm not a huge fan of the top and jungle, but like top is like okay, and Tinks. I remember this guy. No, I don't. I really don't remember this guy at all. So I don't really know much about their jungler. This is gonna be a little bit of a test in the end, so they must have a lot of confidence in him. Fabivin was like top 3 mid in PRM. He had some really nice moments of just understanding how to abuse like his matchups, and actually like play with the team as a whole. So Fabivin, great. SLT can be good. Jungler, have no idea. Cold draw, don't think I know this guy. No, I don't know this guy. So this guy comes to the second division. No idea what he's gonna be like. Hopefully he's okay. What, he's Turkish? There are some pretty good Turkish ADs, so I'll hold off on that. But he could be interesting. And then they're picking up Honor as another player who, I don't know shit about. Oh, he's with Mateus. Okay. So really, when I watched this team, I didn't really care for Mantner. Bakuda was actually not half bad at all. Bakuda, I liked how he drove the game and was like really like steering the team in the right direction in those games. Mateus was like okay, and like I didn't really pay too much attention to Honor because it didn't really seem worthwhile. So I'm not 100% sure on this bot lane, and I'm not sure on their jungle. So this is gonna be an interesting trip for Bivin, and I guess we're just gonna have to trust the scouting. And my placement for these guys might be bad, just as an FYI. Team Go Lot, he can be good. I'm just gonna say it right now. He can be good, but he needs to be more consistent. He's had good like, moments of playing Aatrox, playing Bruiser tops, but like a lot of top laners, there's just a lack of consistency, and the level in which he wins out in his laning phase is still not to the levels that you want, like compared to like Oscarin. Bakuda, you know, we just talked about him. He was like the guy in the LFL2 championship team. He was kind of like their main person to pay attention to. He even started in the tier ones in ERLs for a bit, and then he dropped down to Division 2, and then he actually climbed his way back up. So he has a nice little story, 6'10". He's another one of the prime time mid laners coming up. Like there's 3 of them, right? And so how do I say it? He is a very aggressive mid laner in that he will take trades actively, have a high presence. He kind of just toyed around with a lot of worse mid laners. So the fact that he's going to play against a much better set of mid laners will do great for his own individual improvement and for his career. And he will definitely have to adjust his level of play of like the times and when he does his all-ins, his trades, and how he plays around his team, because this is just the next level. Like, it's just he doesn't have like a team that's gonna help steamroll their lower division, right? Jezu, great player. He was actually their most consistent player on GameSword with that kind of stacked team. Even though like there's players who you definitely would say are better than him in theory, he was the most consistent and the most dependable player on the team. So great pickup. Prime, it's okay. I mean, like I'm nothing to write home about, but he's all right. So it's a very interesting team because they have a very dependable AD, and then they have 3 players who could be good. So it's gonna be a lot on Duke and steering this team correctly. And if he can, then they can probably be in the top 3, top 3 / top 4. But it'll be a little difficult. vitality.bee. So Knocko. He was in the TCL Division 2, and then he dropped out. He is the He is a extremely good player. Mechanically, like he plays things like Yone. Like think of like players like Zeus, and no, he's not at Zeus's level, obviously, but he tries to mimic that kind of style and dominance in lane. He definitely really lacked the team play aspect and knowing like how to properly play his wave states in lane according to what's happening in the game, but individually, really good. Self-made, it's been a bit. We'll see how this goes. He was a good mechanical player. Will that be the same? I have no idea. Obviously, he has some good history internationally, even. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see. Check out. I don't think that's how you say that. Chajek? Chayat? I can't say his name. I'm gonna be honest. I can't say his name. But um, he's like he's supposed to be mini caps. Like he like plays a variety of champs, knows how to enable his team, play around the team super well, and even like have opportunities to dominate lane. I don't really see that at all. That's kind of like long past. He's not mini caps. Kind of just an okay player. Nothing to write home about. Chopa, you know, he's mostly good for team fights. Not the best in terms of like laning phase, and him and Sten are coming back together. And Sten was definitely helping a lot more on the laning phase as well. Like the opener is getting leads and kind of guiding that sense. And so for Jopa, he needs to take that next step to really, him and Sten need to take the next step to really start dominating the laning phase because it's so important. And, this team in itself is not half bad, honestly. Like if Selfmade comes in well, like looking good, and then Nako can actually kind of learn through, they could definitely pick up some solid wins. So all in all, let's see how I'm gonna do this. So I would say in the S tier, I think the most easiest team to put in here is BDS Academy. I think this team, just from the players they have and like how they're gonna start, looks really good. The next team, oh man, does another team deserve to be in the S tier? Hard. It's very difficult. Okay, let's start with this. In the D tier, I'm gonna put Game Ward. I'm gonna put Game Ward in the D tier because I just do not see any hope there. Solari can be good. It can be good. I'll put them in the B tier. Team du Sud. I'm putting them in the C tier. Again, this is kind of like this is a little bit more of a guess for that team, more so than that team necessarily being like amazing per se. I can see Team Go being around this level as well, just for the players they have. vitality.bee, you know, there's a world where vitality.bee can really make a lot of like good gains um, with the players they have. But if so, part of me feels like they're almost in a B tier because they can go up. Like they could go up to an A, but from the get go, there's just a little bit missing there for me. Um, KC probably will end up being in the A tier. Again, they have Linkas and Kliste and Flashy and Vladdy. Like, there's a lot of talent on this team, but keep in mind, like, you have no idea how this team's gonna completely mesh. This team is gonna be fine, right? I don't know why I moved this, by the way. This team is gonna be fine. Bao, Kami, Aika, White, Wagner. They're probably here. It's just their team play will be good. 100% their team play will be good. And then BKR, it's like Howling good, 113 pretty good, Cheklad can be good, Hansam okay. Are they in like the same level as these guys? Kind of. Honestly, kind of. But I just honestly they probably are when I think about it. They probably are. And so this leaves me with one last team. Who am I missing? Aegis? Oh, I really don't like this team. I'm gonna be honest. I'll probably put them here. And I think this is the best way I can go about the tier systems for the LFL. Because again, BDS Academy, I think the they have a really good bot lane, a good top laner, a good jungler. It feels good. It feels really good looking at it. You know, KC has development pieces, but these development pieces are like actually legit talent. Genomates, you know, is the dependent on their team play, but can see them doing well. BKR 113 will do better than Pride, and I'm not like the most fond of their bot lane, but the team should be like working reasonably well enough. Vitality.bee is a huge risk to put in A tier in the right from the beginning. Team Go, you know, again, like it's an it's a fine team. It's gonna be heavily dependent on how their coach goes about it. Solari, again, a lot of good talent. Murdos, he's gonna have to like level up. Aegis, Team Sood, kind of makes sense that they're here. And then Games Ward, yeah, like what can I say? Like it's just not a very great team. So if I look at top laners, Holly number one, easy. Like I know people will tell me like, well, you should put Ragnar. That's no. This guy is definitely better than Ragnar. Now Nako could be high tier, but he just doesn't know how to like play the game well enough with the team yet. So I have JNX and then Ragnar, then Aggressivo, then ooh. So I really don't care about Pride. So I think I'll put Pride and then I'll put Matner. And then I'm gonna put Lot. So this is where it's gonna get a little interesting because I don't think Aggressivo's that crazy either though. Like part of me almost feels like doing this, which is like a little out there. And again, I think it probably be like this for now. I think individually this guy can be so good. This guy could be in the 2 and 3 slot by the end of the split. If he so happens to be there from the get-go, that's gonna be that's gonna be insane. But this is gonna be definitely be the guy to watch out for from the lower like half. Um Jungle wise, okay, this is gonna be interesting. So in theory, I should put Linkas in the first, but I think Suman had a better overall split and time. I think Linkas can be here then 113. Uh, I really don't know where to put Selfmade. This might be Ekos at this point. I probably will put Ryuzaki at the bottom. Let me make sure it's the right guy, by the way. Like, because if this is not, then I'm kind of trolling. Yeah, it's the right guy. Okay, I was not very. I'm not really fond of this guy at all. So I'm gonna put him at the bottom. I'll probably put. Oh man, do I put White that low? Actually, might. What do I put? I think I'll do it. Do I value White less than Bukata? Kind of, actually. I think I'm gonna do it this way. So none of these players are necessarily like guys that I'm like deeply infatuated with, like that are gonna perform super well. Kind of these guys are all well known at this point. Um, Mid, this will be fun. This will be very fun. Oh shit. Okay, this is gonna look interesting. I don't know. Do I really put this guy last? I really don't like Ping either, though. And there's DK. I feel like DK will do worse than some of these guys, though. Okay, I might revisit mid because this is surprisingly a lot harder than I thought. ADC wise, Oh, please stay, Kidoi. Zoo. Fuck. I mean, like, in theory, this guy probably will sit here, and then it probably be Bao, Jezu, Kidoi. Uh, Shit. This one's a little bit harder. Not a big fan of Hito. Don't know enough about cold draw, so I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. Unfortunately, I really don't like Mateus either, though. Mateus. I'm gonna put him here. I'm gonna put Hans Samt here because I don't want to put this guy too high at this point, and then Jopa here. I think I'm gonna leave it like this for now. It's pretty reasonable. I think these four are very contested. Like Hidoi again, he could be he can like him and Jezu could technically switch spots. Bao I think is just too consistent that for now he'll sit above them. Uh, but if he does have a down year, it's gonna look pretty bad. And then Mateus, don't care, don't care. Koldra, I'm not 100% sure on these two, so we'll have to see how that goes. This one, I'm biased towards Fleshy. I'll be honest, I'm biased towards Fleshy, but I'll do the smart thing. I'm gonna put Paris. I'm gonna put Fleshy. I'm gonna put. Ooh. Okay, it's got a little hard. I think I'm gonna put Honor at the bottom, and then on Terra. I kind of like what this guy does more so. I kind of like more what he does than Kami, honestly. I'm not like a huge fan of Kami. Oh, but I have Murtis too. So I gotta move these guys up, and I need to put Murtis here. Steal back and Stend. Okay, in many ways, it's probably gonna go this way. I think Murtis can move up. I think these guys probably won't. Like a lot of these guys have been in the league for a while, so that makes sense that they're around the middle of the pack. They've never really been like stars and above others. I think this is super obvious. Like these two will be like contesting towards the top, the Turkish supports. For mid lane, dude, this is hard. Like I said, this is really hard because the number one mid, it should be obvious, but like there's some really closeness going on here. Like a lot of people might just slam 610, but I think that would be a mistake. And I think this is going to be the most like, don't take my this as like the church. As I think for now, Checklad will do good. I think. Ooh, it's fucking hard. I think Aika has performed enough that for a team like team wide like belief in playing the game, he'll do better. Then it's probably the. I think I'm gonna do it this way: for Bivin, then Aika. With I might put the young guys in now at this point. Like I think I would put 610 and then Vladdy here, and then throw in. Really don't care about Pang. I really don't care about Pang. I really do not care about this guy either, though. I just don't really feel much for him in the end. I guess this is the best way I can say it. Reeker, uh, man, I don't know. I'm like not like excited about either of these two players, so you could probably switch them and then put Nepkla. And this is kind of like a biased like throwdown of Nepkla because if he does perform, he'll be here. But he didn't perform, so in theory, he probably should be here. But we'll just go with this for now. So this is my overall rankings and tier list for the LFL going into the 2024 season. I think there's a lot of really cool names to pay attention to. I still think you need to pay attention to Howling. I think you need to pay attention to Knock Knocko. I really don't care about Matner. I'm going to be honest. I hope people don't hate me on that. Skumon, Linkas, uh, maybe Bakura. We'll see. 610, Vladdy, Nakla. Obviously, you're still going to pay attention to the KCAD. You're going to see if Kadoy and Jopa can like overcome their situations. I don't know shit about Coldra, but I'm curious. Paris and Fleshy, you know, they're prime time looking towards the top of the ceiling top of the ceiling, I guess, for ERLs and pushing into the LEC. Same with Stan, he's trying to do the same thing. And then Murdos. These will be the most interesting players to kind of pay attention to that you haven't really seen before. Or maybe you haven't seen as much or paid attention to as much. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and make sure you subscribe and like on the video.